Greetings, math fans. All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about translations. Okay, and translations basically means moving left and right and up and down. All right, so here's our general form. Y is equal to C plus A sine of B parentheses X minus D. Ooh, that looks super scary, doesn't it? Sure does. Okay, and then Y equals C plus A cosine of B X minus D. Okay, so you pretty much treat sine and cosine the same, and of course you know how to graph. Sine you graph always at in the quotes x-axis, and it goes up and down, and cosine is always at a minimum or a maximum. All right, so this value right here is called your vertical shift. Okay, so that's just how much it goes up and how much it goes down. And this part right here is going to be your phase shift. All right, and it's actually really this guy right here, this x minus that minus d. That's going to be a phase shift. All right, but let's just start out with a friendly problem here. Let's do our vertical shift first. Okay, so y is equal to 5 plus 5 plus 2 sine of x. Okay, y equals 5 plus 2 sine of x. Now, the absolute worst mistake you could possibly make is to say, rewrite this as y equals 7 sine of x. If you do that, you're going back to algebra 1. All right, that's just like a horrible mistake to make. All right, so the first thing is our vertical shift is 5. So this is what we do. So we can write that down, vertical shift. Because I'm asking you a whole bunch of different things here, and this is just something new. So vertical shift is 5. So what I'd like you guys to do is, we're going to leave a little more room on top. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please label things, otherwise you don't get full credit. And we're going to draw a dotted line. This is like our new x-axis. Okay? And I've said that before, x-axis in quotes. All right? And so it's kind of easy because once you have that, it's all really the same stuff as we did before. First of all, if you realize it's x is between 0 and 2 pi, so the period is 2 pi minus 0, which is 2 pi, and our increment is going to be 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2. So this is just like the old days. So let's plot this. This is pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. All right, and our amplitude, of course, is 2. So from that point, our maximum is going to be 7, and our minimum is going to be 3. Do you guys realize that? So max equals 7, and minimum is equal to 3. All right, and it's all the same stuff, except now we're dealing with a different x-axis. So it's 2 sine of x. Sine starts at 0. So here we go. We start at 0, which is our x-axis, right? I shouldn't say it's 0. It's our in quotes x-axis. And then it's all the same stuff from there. We go up and then back down again. And then to this one, 3, and then back to 2 pi. And that's our graph, or those are our points. And we just kind of fill it in. Remember, make it nice and smooth. So curve, let go, and then curve. And that's your graph. That's a vertical shift. Really simple. Really, really simple. Okay, let's try another one here. Y is equal to negative 3 minus 2 cosine of x. That's a vertical shift. And vertical shifts can be negative. That makes sense. Vertical shift is negative 3. Amplitude is positive 2. The period for this one, of course, it's just x, so it's like the old days. So period is 2 pi. Our increment. And remember, guys, increment is not really something I'm going to ask for on a quiz. It's just to help you graph it. It's just pi over 2. Alright, so I'm going to leave a little more room on the bottom here. And vertical shift is -3. And we're going to, our amplitude is 2, so we're going to do 2 more. But here, let's draw our dotted line. Okay. And we have pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. Alright, now guys, remember it's cosine and it's negative. You got to watch for everything here. Alright, so I know I'm going to start at a minimum and a maximum. So in this case here, since it's negative, I'm going to start at a minimum. So my amplitude was 2, so I'm going to start down here at -5. And then I go to my, in quotes, x-axis, and I go up 2 more to pi, go back down to our, in quotes, x-axis, and back to -5. So there you go, math fans, that's it. And of course, be careful with your sketch. It's a curve. Take your pencil off the paper, curve the other way, take your pencil off the paper, and then curve. And that's it. Okay, that's the ghosty graph. Kind of remember that from the past days. Okay, so no big deal, right? That's what a vertical shift is. It's shifting up and down. But again, this dotted line is important, I think, just to be able to sketch your graph correctly. Okay, so let's try a shift left and right now. Okay, so I'm going to do y is equal to 2 sine of x minus pi over 2. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, first of all, you know it has no vertical shift, so let's do a couple things. First of all, our amplitude is 2, our vertical shift is 0, and I'm going to take this, watch closely, x minus 2, so that value is going to go, or that little, after the sign there, is going to go between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, real easy. And they're going to add pi over 2 to all sides. So you get pi over 2 less than or equal to x less than or equal to. Now, just, be careful when you add these guys. It's 2 pi is the same thing as 4 pi over 2, so it's 5 pi over 2. Alright, now, here's the deal. That number right there, that is always your phase shift. And you're like, what the heck is a phase shift? It's the same thing as a horizontal shift. Just another word for it. It's actually the one we use all the time. We'll use phase shift and not horizontal shift. Okay, but I want you to understand it just means moving back and forth, left and right. Okay, but that's your phase shift, and that is going to be for every trig function except for tangent, and I'll show you as we get to that why it's not for tangent. But basically, you look at that number after you solve the compound inequality. You look at that number, and that's automatically your phase shift. Okay, now this is the deal: the period. Remember, I told you before all you had to do is look at that right number. Well, now you truly have to do 5 pi over 2 minus pi over 2. So it's 4 pi over 2, which is 2 pi. So the period is 2 pi. The increment is 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2. And that's it. Okay, so, phase shift then, well, you said it was pi over 2. Alright, so let's graph this. And remember, I also told you back in the day, that's your starting point, and that is your ending point. Okay? So on a graph, that's one period. It's the start of a period and the end of a period. So let's kind of go and draw a graph here. We're going to do pi over 2, 2 pi over 2 or pi, 3 pi over 2, 4 pi over 2 or 2 pi, and 5 pi over 2. We got 5 points. That's what we need. Now it's shifted over 1. So what we're going to do now, we realize it's sine. So sine starts at the x-axis. So here it is. But it happens to be at pi over 2 because we shifted over. And then from there it's positive. The amplitude is 2. So let's put our markings in here too. 1, 2, -1, -2. Okay, so we're going to go from pi over 2, it's positive sign, so we go up here, and then back down here to negative 2, and to 5 pi over 2. Okay, and then we graph it like that. Take your pencil off the paper, and like that. And there we go. That is a phase shift. It's very exciting, math fans. Very exciting. Okay, all right, it's not too bad. Let's do a few more examples here. Y is equal to negative 3 cosine of 2 parentheses x plus pi. Okay, it looks a little scary, but not really. Okay, again, this has no vertical shift. We're going to do one of those in a little bit. Okay, but we know our amplitude is 3, and let's take that value to x plus pi and set it between 0 and 2 pi. Now, math fans, this is a really, really, really bad algebra mistake. Okay, a really bad algebra mistake is to subtract pi first. You guys need to understand this is it's 2 parentheses x plus pi. What do you do first? Got to divide both sides by 2. So don't subtract pi first. Boo. Okay, that's really, really bad. All right, so I divide, so I get 0 less than or equal to x plus pi less than or equal to pi. And then I'm going to subtract pi from all sides. So you get negative pi less than or equal to x less than or equal to 0. All right, well, so if I ask you the phase shift, PS, phase shift, negative pi, that's easy. It just moved over negative pi. If I asked you, the vertical shift, that's 0 because there's no like 3 plus or 2 minus 3, right? It's just negative 3. So there's no vertical shift, and let's do the period now. Period is 0 minus a negative pi, which is pi. That's the period. And sometimes people make a mistake with subtraction. Guys, you need to understand the period is always positive. That's really important. Okay, so the period's pi, and our increment is pi divided by 4, which is just pi over 4. Okay, so remember, math fans, that's our starting point and that's our ending point. So I'm going to draw it a little like this. So it starts at negative pi and it goes by pi over 4. So I'm going to actually just kind of start from here. So I draw a nice graph. Negative pi over 4, negative pi over 2, negative 3 pi over 4, and negative pi. All right. Now, it's cosine and it's negative. Well, let's see. First of all, its amplitude was 3. So I need to go 1, 2, 3. Oops. Okay, and negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. All right, so at negative pi, remember it's cosine, it's negative, so it's going to start at a minimum value. Okay? Then it goes to 0. Then it goes to the maximum value, goes back to 0, goes back to the minimum value. 5 points. Okay? Yeah, it looks kind of a little lopsided, but it's okay. Here's your curve. That's not too great. Here's that curve. And then here is that curve. Okay? That's what the graph looks like. That's not too bad, right? All right. Let's combine some of these together now. This is really the ultimate, and this is as tough as it gets. So this next one I'm going to do here is the toughest one you can get. Of course, things can be negative and whatnot, but that's okay. So you get y is equal to 2 plus 3 sine of 2 times x minus pi. Well, a few things I can pull off of this right away. I can say the amplitude is 3, the vertical shift is 2, and then I'm going to set to figure everything else out, 2 parentheses x minus pi. That's going to be between 0 and 2 pi. And divide everything by 2. Okay, and I'm going to add pi to all sides. So pi less than or equal to x less than or equal to 2 pi. All right, here we go. Phase shift is pi. The period is 2 pi minus pi, which is pi. That's the period. And my increment is pi over 4. All right, that's all we need. Let's go here. Vertical shift is 2, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So 1, 2. The amplitude is 3, so 3, 4, 5. And we need to go down here to -1. All right. So again, vertical shift 2. So we put our dotted line there, and let's plot our points. So from pi to 2 pi, and again, you want to kind of make it even. Please don't put pi right here and then just go and start adding your increment. You got to realize that pi is about here because you have everything else in between there. And then I'm going to do 5 pi over 4. I'm going to add pi over 4 each time. 6 pi over 4, which is 3 pi over 2. 7 pi over 4. And 8 pi over 4, which is 2 pi. Okay, there we go. It's between these two values, pi and 2 pi. And sure enough, between pi and 2 pi. All right. Now we got sine. Okay, so sine starts at the x-axis in quotes. So we're going to put our first point right here. And then it's positive, so we're going to go up to up 3. And then back down again. And then to -1. And then back up again. Okay, those are our points. And then we sketch them. So it's like that. Take your pencil off the paper, and then like that. Okay, and there's a graph. It's not bad. Okay, so let's try another one here. Okay, it takes a lot of practice. It really does, but it really is not that difficult. So y is equal to -3 minus 2 cosine of, let's do 4x minus pi over 2. Okay, that's a little bit different because you're not, well, let's kind of keep going here. Right, first of all, vertical shift is -3. Our amplitude is 2. And we're going to set 4x minus pi over 2 between 0 and 2 pi. Now, you don't divide by 4 here first. Now there's no, it's not like saying 4 parentheses x minus 2. It's saying 4x minus pi over 2. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add pi over 2 to all sides. And we get pi over 2 less than or equal to 4x less than or equal to 5 pi over 2. And then we're going to multiply everything by 1/4. So pi over 8 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 5 pi over 8. There we go. That's our phase shift. Phase shift is pi over 8. The period is 5 pi over 8 minus pi over 8 is 4 pi over 8, which is pi over 2. That's the period. And then, of course, the increment is pretty easy. That's just equal to 1/4 times pi over 2, which is pi over 8. Okay? So let's kind of start out here. Let's leave a little more room in the bottom. So we start at pi over 8, right? This is our starting point right here, and this is our ending point. So we have pi over 8 2 pi over 8, which is pi over 4, 3 pi over 8, 4 pi over 8, which is pi over 2, and 5 pi over 8, which is our ending point. All right, that's not bad. And our vertical shift is -3. Draw a nice dotted line there. Okay, and our amplitude is 2, so that means we're going to go up 2 that way to -1 and down 2 to -5. All right, so we got everything there. It's cosine, it's negative, so we start at a minimum. That means we start down here. We go to 0. We go to -1. We go back to 0, and we go to -5. All right, again, tempting to draw that V, man. You know you want to do it, but you can't do it. You got to go up like that, and like that. All right. So that's it. That is basically doing every type of problem here, and just coming up with the graph. It's really not too bad. Make sure you just solve your algebra correctly. That's actually kind of a big thing, and watch for signs like this negative here or negative here, and watch when you're doing your algebra for that 4x there. Okay, so that's everything combined, math fans, and that should be it. You have a great day. Adios. Goodbye.